Hey, I'm Hunter Allen, and I'm here with Gary Hoffman. I'm with Peaks Coaching Group, and Gary has rejoined us with Peaks Coaching Group. He's been a longtime coach and went away out into the desert for a long time, and now he's back. And so let's just talk about.
Good to be back, Hunter.
Glad to have you back, man.
Yeah.
Glad you're back. Glad you're back.
Well,
what have you been doing, man? How's things
life
going?
stuff happens. That's kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
And just trying to keep up with everything. But back to coaching now, and doing a lot more work. I was a roadie for a long time, and now I'm on the track pretty much full time.
That's awesome.
Moved down to Rock Hill, South Carolina,
and to be near the track.
Yeah, I mean, I turned 5 hours into 5 minute commute, and that makes it
that's a
lot easier.
That's
yeah,
great.
And it's a big deal to be on the velodrome.
That's cool. Well, give us like a little bit of a background. I mean, you've been racing bicycles forever. I mean, I've seen black and white photos of you in races of racing bicycles. So give us just a little background on your racing history and where you've been and what you've done, so that people can understand what's going on.
Well, I mean, I was always an athlete. In high school, I did a bunch of different sports. In college, I played rugby until I separated my shoulder twice.
Ouch.
And then that's when I took up cycling. And within a couple of years, I was kind of surprised that I moved pretty quickly to kind of the top of the local scene. I won the Virginia State Championships, and I teamed up with a fellow down in Florida, and then we did, at that time it was the Olympic year. And
okay, what year was this?
1976.
All right. Okay.
And there was 3 different qualifying race series on the East Coast, in the center of the country, and on the West Coast.
Okay.
So there was a bunch of races. There must have been 15 or 20 different races, and there were points. And I was able to get enough points, top 15. And my buddy and I did as well, and learned a lot. Back then, there was no coaching, so we didn't really know what we were doing.
You're just trying to figure it out, huh?
We'd have a race, and it's like, what happened, man? We get in the van, and like we spent all this time trying to figure out what to do, and then maybe try to train like that. But there were long races, road races, 100 miles, over 100 miles, and then the criteriums were like 60 miles.
Wow. So there was a bunch of racing back then in the 70s in Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic, East, all up and down the East Coast.
The race series started in Florida and went all the way up to New Hampshire and Vermont. And so it was just, it was well done, honestly. And there was a good field. I mean, probably at least 75 riders, in every event. That's awesome. It was tough. And, I had a few good results. I was telling Fernando on the way over that probably my best race was when I was in a breakaway with Dickie Dunn, who was on the national team. And he was notoriously a bad sprinter. Everyone knew that he just didn't have a sprint. So we were pretty far away from the group, but it was pouring down rain. And I'm thinking, I'm going to win this race. I'm going to win this race. It's going to be the greatest race ever for me. And we're going around the corner, and I'm just following his wheel, and he goes around the corner, and I just slid out. And it's like, oh, man. And but anyway, I still finished second. But from there, I stayed kind of on the top of things at that point.
But you weren't racing track at this time? You were really racing the road?
Not at all.
Criteriums, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I went to at the time, it was the Coors Classic, but it later, but it was the Red Zinger race, and it was the biggest race in the country. And, a few years later, a number of the top Europeans came, Greg LeMond, et cetera. But that was really a treat, and Thomas Prin, who went on to become national champion, invited me onto his team. And I wasn't, a star in the race, but I finished everything and was in pretty good shape. Then went to the nationals, made the breakaway. It was a 5-man breakaway, but I had mechanical problems.
Darn it!
So
bike racing is so hard. It's so hard.
Well, I just had this dream, Hunter. I just this passion. I guess to be an athlete, and then once I got into cycling, it's like I just really want to do this. I wanted to do it like as my main thing.
Right.
So after that, I was racing in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a stage race in Quebec City, and the announcers called me out of the race, told me my father died.
Oh man.
Well, that really changed the course of my life. And then a bit later, several months later, I was working as a carpenter. I fell off a ladder, injured my lower vertebrae, compressed it, and it was just so much pain. And I just wanted to keep riding the bike, and I just really couldn't because my back locked up. So over time, it got a little better. I got away from it, and then later I became a master at age 35. Shorter races, the back's getting better. Got back to it, and then I really stayed with it for quite a while. And just as a master riding regional races, we were racing up in all around in Vermont, criteriums. And one of the things that I discovered at that time is I read the book from I'm forgetting his name.
Eddie B. Greg LeMond. Eddie B.
Yes, thank you. We'll edit that out, I hope. Yeah, it was Greg LeMond's book, and he was. This was the first time I really saw a training plan. It's like, and he was doing intervals, and he was doing sprinting, and all the pros were doing these long distance, and so I tried to start applying that, and then I started trying to apply it towards sprinting, and the interesting thing was that the first thing was I wasn't able to convince myself that I could win, and so I had to go through this mental challenge and just rehearse. And I was telling the story earlier that I would be in traffic in Boston, is where I was living at the time, and open the sunroof and put my hands up and imagine that I'm crossing the finish line. And then when I practice sprinting, so anyway,
that's awesome.
I kept working on that, and I became a pretty good sprinter, and became known as a sprinter, as a road sprinter, and just kind of continued on with that, and that became one of the main focuses of my racing.